biochemistry magna cum laude from Arizona State University in 1995, and his NMD, naturopathic medical doctor degree from Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine in 2001. Dr. Peace is fully licensed practicing naturopathic physician with prescriptive privileges here in Arizona. Dr. Peace is a general practitioner offering a wide selection of services, including bioidentical hormone replacement, stem cell therapies, chelation therapy, acupuncture, vitamins, IV therapy, trigger point injections, prolotherapy, neurotherapy, B12 injections, HIV, Hep C, complementary therapies, and nutritional counseling. Dr. Peace also has a full medicinary offering physician-grade vitamins, supplements, and a botanical pharmacy within his practice. Dr. Peace's approach to medicine utilizes all modalities to create a program that is specific to each person's need for healing to occur. Dr. Peace understands that each person is different and unique, so creating specific protocols is vital to that person's health and healing. Therefore, Dr. Peace specializes in personalized medicine. It is this approach to healing and medicine that makes Dr. Peace's practice a huge success. And he just bought a building and moved, so you might want to ask him about that. So let's give him a nice Southwest warm welcome. Dr. Peace.
Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me? Thank you for the nice intro. The topic that I want to talk about is how I started my wellness center, but I have to take a little twist before I do because I have to, because I'm a crazy person that way. When I say I'm a crazy person, I think you're all crazy too. You know, and you might have an understanding of what I'm saying, but I want to try to introduce this, and it's always a hard topic to talk about. No, it's a hard topic to explain. And every time I explain it differently, so I'm going to see what comes out of my mouth. So basically, there's two people up here talking to you. It's my crazy, but I can say it's also not my crazy. So I'm Dr. Timothy Peace, it's a pleasure, and I want to give you some of my history. But then there's somebody else right next to me. He's also influencing me. I don't know what to call him. Maybe I'll call him Little Timmy, just to give him a reference if he's immature or he has a different point of view. You have it, you have this, all of you guys have this other counterpart that's going to be talking to you at all of us. Maybe when I walked up here before I started talking to you, he was saying to me, you're not going to do a good job. You're going to be laughed at, blah, blah, blah. And I think we all carry that within ourselves. So as I talk, I'm going to bring it up again. I just want to introduce this idea that I'm Dr. Tim Peace, pleasure. I'm a huge success. And then there's another part that says, no, you're not. You're not a huge success. You're winging it. And then when I started my practice, or when I first opened up my clinic or my wellness center, if I could say, I kind of winged it. You know, I just kind of put one step forward and I was going to see what happened. When I went to ASU, I don't know, 91 to 94, 95. I didn't have much confidence. I didn't know too much. But when I started taking classes, I really found that I was really good at chemistry. I don't know why, I just was, because I never knew what chemistry was until I started taking it. And I really excelled at biochem and organic chemistry. And in my head, I was thinking, I'm not that great. I'm just a normal kid doing organic chemistry. But as I started talking to my other students, I explained it very well to them, so they started understanding. And then the professor started talking to me and said, hey, would you mind tutoring some of our students who are failing? And I did that. So then I thought, maybe I should start tutoring organic chemistry to make some money. And then I thought, or maybe little Timmy said, you can't do that. Who's going to come see you? Why would they want to come see you? Maybe you're just a dumb kid or no one really likes you. Or I could say to all of you guys, if you really got to know me, you probably won't like me. Now that's not me saying that, that's somebody else saying that. But anyway, that's what I was thinking or somehow I was thinking that when I decided to be an organic chemistry tutor. So I started putting on my flyers, and I soon found that 10 people came, and I did my teaching thing. 20 people came, I did my teaching thing. 30 people came, I did my teaching thing. 100 people came, I did my teaching thing. 500 students came, I did my teaching thing. 1,000 students came, I did my teaching thing. And I'm thinking, what is going on with this? So I started charging money. I started charging $10 a head. If you think about it, I had 1,000 kids. I used to rent these, or not rent, I had a friend who worked at ASU who let me have access to the big auditoriums. And I'd have friends help me collect the money when they came in. So, I mean, seriously, I was thinking, who's coming to see me? I don't understand this. This is amazing. But there was that duality of me that said, of course I can do this. I'm student Tim, you know, I'm not Dr. Peace. And then that little shit, if I could say it that way, excuse my language. You know, little Timmy says, no, you can't do that. Anyway, the money started happening and the tutoring started happening and it was really fun. I had a great time doing it. And I started feeling, maybe I have a golden touch or something like that. But then, of course, I would hear the opposite. No, you don't. So I just ignored it and I just kept doing my thing. Anyway, I graduated there, and then I went to Southwest here. And it's kind of the same idea where you're just a student, you're going through your thing, and eventually you have to graduate. And eventually you have to go on and do your clinic, or you're gonna maybe work for your company, or you're gonna start something else. I'm not sure what your plans are. But what's gonna prevent you from doing it, and what's gonna make you do it? Do you have somebody within you that's keeping you back, or are you gonna be strong and move forward? But what happened for me is, by the fourth year, I'm not sure if this is like good to say, but I'm saying it. By the fourth year, I started seeing patients. But I had a house, and my house was just down the road here. So they were only friends and family. I didn't charge for this. But I started seeing patients, and my first patient was named Bill. And Bill, of course, was a friend of a friend. And Bill had stage 4 colon cancer. And he was in the hospital, and he was given his, a priest came and gave his last rites, and he was dying, and a friend said, hey, come see Tim Peace, he's supposed to be Mason, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, little Timmy says, what are you talking about? He's just a kid. Anyway, he came to see me at my house, and I thought, okay, what should I do for him? What's what here? Stage 4, colon cancer. I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. But then I thought, maybe I do know what to do. What would I do? What is classic don't answer this question, because there's tons of answers. What is the classic naturopathic therapies to do for someone who has colon cancer stage 4? And I thought, nutrition? That's always classic. And I thought maybe I could do an IV on him. That's classic. And maybe I could do some botanical medicine chemotherapeutics. It's not chemotherapy, but I could still consider something that would be helpful, botanical. Anyway, I started seeing him, and I gave him some IVs, etc. And then within 2 months, he was not stage 4 anymore. He was actually cleared. So now I'm thinking to myself, he went in complete remission. He wasn't on any prescription drugs. He wasn't on any pharmaceuticals other than death, because he was too far gone. They said, you're going to die, so stop all meds and just lay down in bed and die. So anyway, I thought to myself, after I heard that he wasn't stage 4 anymore, I thought, did I do that? Or did his body do that? Am I amazing? Do I have the golden touch? Or did I hear somebody else say, it wasn't you? You didn't do anything. Now, to be honest with us, I have no idea if I did anything or not. I did naturopathic care with him. He did have stage 4 cancer, and I saw it, and then he didn't. So what gives? I didn't know what to say to that. But the big part of me was saying, it wasn't you, it was luck, or it was perfect timing on his part. And so I still don't know what to say to that. I assumed I did naturopathic care. Naturopathic care is amazing, so needed. And we all who are out there working, we need your help, so you need to hurry up and graduate so you have to work. But anyway, so that was a challenge for me to say, well, what happened to this guy? I don't know. But anyway, after that 4th year, of course, I graduated, and now I had to go do something on my own. And I'm thinking, crap, what am I going to do? It just so happened that a residency fell in my lap. I went to a place that was an HIV, Hep C, kind of a cancer place. It's more of an HIV place. It was called the Phoenix Body Positive back then. It's called Southwest Center, I should know. What's it called? Southwest Center of HIV. It's the HIV clinic, Southwest Center. And anyway, I started working there, and I was there for about 4 or 5 years. And when I was there, I saw tons of pathology. The good thing about HIV, this is not a nice thing to say, but back then the meds weren't around really. They were just starting to come around. And HIV men and women were really sick. So I saw tons of fantastic pathology. can I say it that way? But I did, I did see just really wonderful sickness, and it was just turning to where they weren't dying anymore. And then when I did the Body Positive, we kind of revamped Body Positive's protocols of wellness center and naturopathic care. We started doing a lot more supplements, we started doing IV therapies, blah, blah, blah. And so the patients started getting better. And then the meds started coming on board. So I was challenged there myself to say, did I do this? Because of what I brought into the clinic, or did the meds kick in and do their thing, or was it a combo? Do I know that answer? No, I don't know the answer. But I would be thinking, I have a golden touch, I'm amazing. Somebody else would tell me it wasn't you. You're not that great, So I had that challenge within myself, but I still kind of thought, I'm gonna claim that was me, but I can never claim that, because I can't claim I'm the one who heals the patient. The patient might heal the patient, or the medicine might heal the patient, or maybe it's my energy that helps them, I don't know that answer. I think I know the answer, but then I hear another one tell me another story. You understand what I mean by that? So, after Body Positive, it was 4 years or 5 years, and it's at that point, I felt like I was babysitting the patients, because the IVs that I was giving them and the meds that we were giving them and the prescription drug meds were working so beautifully well. I was bored, because no one was really sick anymore and the pathology was changing. And also at that same time, the funding was running out, so I thought, I'm gonna go on my own. I didn't go out on my own. I joined with a chiropractor and a DO and me, a naturopath, and we're gonna trio and form a group. Our group is called Arizona Wellness. And it was amazing. It had such a great potential. We wrote, proposals, and the banks loved us, and the DO was amazing, and the chiropractor was so good, and the naturopath was amazing too. And so we went over to the west side of town, we opened up a practice, and then in my golden touch, I'm amazing, nothing I do is, everything I touch is just gonna work out so great. It was a massive, massive monumental failure. Massive. The DO, she saw me, like I said, it's for free. The DO saw how I was seeing patients, and she goes, you seem to be nice and calm, and you spend all this time with patients, I wanna do that. But if you're a DO, you have insurance. You can't do things like that. You have to see 50 people in a day. I don't wanna do medicine like that. If I was part of the system, maybe I would, because that's how I'm gonna make my money. But as a naturopath, that's not what we do. It's okay if you do it that way, but I didn't do it that way. Anyway, she wanted to follow my lead. Next thing I know, she's seeing 10 patients in a day, because she's spending so much time with them, and she couldn't make any money. And then the chiropractor, I love chiropractors, they're amazing, but he turned out to be a bummer, So anyway, that practice was a monumental failure. So for me, I'm thinking, crap, I moved everything out that way. And I invested a lot of time and money over there. And next thing I know, it's failing. Now for my ASU days, I was an amazing organic tutor. And at Southwest College, student, started my practice with the Body Positive. I felt like I was amazing. I had my stuff. I'm just golden. And then I entered this other clinic that was just a monumental failure. And then I was like, oh man, what happened? So what happened after that was a complete reversal of what I thought I was. I thought I was amazing. I thought I was on fire. I thought naturopathic medicine was incredible. And then, if I could claim this little Timmy, he really came out. And he was saying, you should probably quit. That failure was like a baby to you, and you just lost a baby, basically. I'm talking about the clinic with the DO and the chiropractor. That was my baby. And it failed. So with that failure, I'm a failure. And then this little Timmy really came on board, and he really started talking to me. Everything I thought, everything I felt, everything I was really a challenge. I know I had my successes at, let's say, ASU and at Southwest, let's say, but it didn't matter because I was being overridden by a certain voice in my head that was saying, no, you're pitiful, and no one likes you, things like that. But I started to think about, during that time, I said, well, this can't just be me who does this. Or maybe it is, maybe I'm totally crazy. But then I started thinking, do patients do this too? And then I started realizing, I think every human does this. And, there's always a twist in how you want to talk about it. You can put on different filters. You have the way you were brought up. If you were abused or brought out of love or whatever it was, we all have this illusion or image that we're pieces of crap and that we're amazing. So I started thinking, well, if I'm a piece of crap, and yet I'm amazing as well, what happened? So I started thinking, and I wonder if this worked for me, because I explain this to my patients. The problem is, it's going to take me about 5 or 10 minutes to explain what I'm explaining, and I do this with patients. And I think it works because I've had some good successes with it, but every time I tell the story changes. So I'm just going to tell you what I tell patients. I want to introduce you to your little shit. Excuse my language. It's horrible to swear, right? But I do swear in front of patients sometimes, and I always apologize to them too. Anyway, I don't know how to explain it. How do you introduce yourself to the person who keeps you down? You're a worse critic to yourself than anybody will ever be to you. Do you think that's true? Don't you think you're so mean to yourself when you don't need to be? What gives? Why are you so mean when nobody else is that mean? Because you're you know? But that's not true. So here's what I say. The assumption is that you're in your mom's womb. And you just chill now. You don't have to do nothing. It's warm. You hear this beautiful music in the background, which is the heartbeat. You're hungry, but you don't really know what hunger is because you're constantly fed. You're thirsty, but you know what thirst is. You're constantly, being fed again or being drunk. And so you're just nice and mellow. And you're doing that for month after month after month. And you're thinking, if you're like an entity, is this what it means to be a human? I love this. This is awesome. And just kicking back. And that first time you're at the super contraction, I'm trying not to be C-section, I'm going to push out vaginal. So you get the first contraction, and you're thinking, that was weird. No big deal because it's gone. I'm nice and mellow again. That happens again and again and again. And next thing you know, you're being forced through a tiny tube. If you ever look at babies that are born, sometimes they come out looking like a tube. Their heads are a little bit, squished, etc. But anyway, that was not a comfortable experience for me. And I now was thinking to myself, hey, it was nice being a human. Now I'm not sure. And then I have to be born. And as soon as I'm born, I no longer hear the music. In fact, I hear chaos around me. I don't understand what that is. I'm freezing. I'm thinking this isn't so good being a human. Maybe I'm being doted on. But then I have to take my first breath. And I have no idea what that is. And that first breath is probably the most painful thing I've ever experienced because I've been stuck in this amazing womb, of love and kindness and beautiful music. And next thing you know, I'm breathing and I'm freezing and no one's loving on me from what I perceive. So I perceived what love was. I didn't have to do anything. Love came to me. I didn't have to work at nothing because I just heard music. I was warm. I didn't have to think about nothing. Now I'm breathing. I hate, and I don't hear the music. I think I hate that too. And I'm kind of cold. I definitely hate that too. And now I have the sensation that I'm hungry. What the heck is that? I don't know what that is, but I don't like it because I'm uncomfortable now. Okay, so what I just explained was I had nothing to do. Peaceful, loving, kindness, gentleness. And then I'm in this upset, cold, maybe I'm angry, I guess. I don't really understand, but I know I'm not happy. So all my needs met. And then all of a sudden, because I just got born, maybe I'm laid on my mom or my dad, I guess, chest, and I start getting bathed and loved on, and I'm thinking, ooh, I kind of like this again. I think I remember what it is being human. And then they feed me, and then I'm totally in bliss. And then I'm being cared for. I didn't ask for this, it came to me. So, me being stuck in the womb, then being born in pain, and then being nurtured again, now I'm getting confused, but I like it. I like being nurtured. I like being cared for. I don't want to ask for it. I want it to just come to me. Because that's what's happening. And I'm starting to get this understanding of the world that life is so easy, life is kind of tough. Then it's easy again. And then let's say the parents, this is my dumb story, the parents are loving on you for like 4 or 5 or 6 hours because you just were born. And then the parents are going, I'm so hungry. I just want to go to bed. And so they're going to lay you down and pray you go to sleep. Because I'm the parents, I'm exhausted. I have to sleep. So I do. I go to sleep and I put you down in the bed. I'm going to be down for at least 3 or 4 hours, I think. Maybe an hour. Give me an hour. Hope the baby gives me an hour. But assume I give it an hour. But the baby doesn't know that. And the baby wakes up in 10 minutes and says, I'm cold. I have this new hunger. I'm still breathing. It's kind of weird. I'm kind of thirsty. I don't hear any music. I don't like this. I'm very upset. Where's my loving? Do I have to ask for this? You know, I might scream my head off, and hopefully someone's going to run, but what if they don't run? Then I'm going to start thinking, do you hate me? Why aren't you loving on me? Why aren't you coming to me? So the first inkling, this is my story again, the first inkling I'm going to say, maybe I'm being bad, maybe they're punishing me, maybe no one likes me, but you're born into this, right? You didn't do anything wrong, you're a sweet little baby. You're needy, that's heck, right? But that's baby's nature. Anyway, so what I'm trying to create is, there's a duality that you're going to start creating. If you follow my story, or if you buy my story, that you're based in love and kindness and amazingness, and you're actually a piece of crap because no one really loves you, and you're not being fed and nurtured, blah, blah, blah. Then life continues. Every day you get nurtured and loved upon, and then you get punished and laid down to bed. Every day you're loved, every day you're cold. Every day you're fed, you're hungry. Every day you get liquid, you go illiquid. This duality happens. So I'm challenging myself to say, is that everybody? Does everybody have this punishment mentality, or this love need mentality? Or my patients have this too, that says, I'm loved upon, and then when I'm not, I'm going to act out and be needy so I can get loved upon. I think that's basic human stuff. But it really starts to create a character of who you are. And I think it creates a character of what your patients are. So let me just kind of speak forward. Let's talk about a patient who's an alcoholic, or who's a food addict, or who's, you can even say, a sugar addict, or you're a sex addict, or you're a blah, blah, blah addict, or whatever you guys have. Because I guarantee you, all of you guys have something brewing within you that you probably don't want anybody to know, or you're freely talking about it. I'm trying to create a distinction between Dr. Peace and then little Timmy. And your patient's going to be the patient. The patient's going to be amazing to you until you can kind of weasel in there and get them on your side, I guess, or get them to open up to expose some of their little shit behavior, if I could say it that way. Excuse my language again. So what I've noticed, that if I can talk this way to patients, and let's say we talk about the food addiction, and let's say they're going to have too much sugar, I would challenge them by saying, after I explain the story, to try to get a differentiation between the adult patient to the little, I use the word little shit, sorry, I'm going to say shit many times. I apologize again. Anyway, so I try to get us to talk about that. And then a lot of times the patients will tell me, I just can't do it. I just can't not eat sugar. I have to have a banana, or I have to have my dark chocolate, or I have to have my blah, blah, blah before I go to bed. So I asked them, don't you want to stop eating sugar? Let's say they're a diabetic too, right? Diabetes implies too much sugar. So let's say they're diabetic, and we're trying to get them to eat sugar, and at first they want to, and they're here paying their money, they're giving me money, you know, and I'm trying to talk to them about this situation, and I'm going to say, well, don't you want to stop sugar? And all your patients are going to say, yeah, I'm diabetic, of course I need to stop sugar. It's bad if I do the sugar, I know this, says the patient. And then when you're not around them, and they're home alone, you know, they're going to get their ice cream, or they're going to do whatever they're going to do that keeps them stuck. So I asked them, why can't you just not eat sugar? And they say, I can do this, I can. But they can't. So how I try to explain this to them is I say, maybe it's not you doing it. I'm trying to give them an out as well. They're not at fault. It's somebody else at fault. And that tends to make some patients feel pretty good about it, because like, oh, I am pretty amazing, huh? But something else, my little shit, gets in my way. And so we start having my day 1-year-old person. That's huge. If you follow what I'm saying, you will be a big asset to your patients if you can get them to understand this kind of concept. It's kind of weird, and I'm also making a claim that this is huge. I could be wrong. Maybe this is nothing. But I think you can understand my story, I think. I hope I explained it enough, to where you can figure out your stuff, which means you can tell your patients about their stuff, because I guarantee you they're coming to you and they're going to give you money. Why would I come to you and give you my money? I don't want to give you my money. You don't do nothing for me. You're a piece of shit too. What makes you so special? that I'm gonna come to you and give money, $200, $300? We're gonna talk about food and nutrition? I don't wanna talk about that. But anyway, that's kind of the gist that you could get lost in, that I almost got lost in, that was, why would somebody come see you? Why are you so special? Now, I can say, when I started off my practices, you know, I winged it. Maybe I got lucky, maybe I did get lucky. But I would say that I don't want to wing anything. I'd rather have some kind of specialty to kind of get me into a groove. I didn't do that. I sort of ended up going that way by default, just by time. But I'm not sure if you guys are going to wing it or if you're going to try to get to a specialty. The specialties are changing for naturopaths. There's, I'm going to miss some, my apologies, you know, there's the aesthetic medicine, there's going to be a stem cell section, I'm sure, a prolo section, acupuncture, homeopath, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's really nice to not wing it. If you do, I still think, as long as you have faith in yourself and you don't listen to that, I still think you'll be moving forward just by default, because you're going to have no choice. If you have any other options about not being a naturopath, then you might go that route. But if you stick to if you just stick to your path and just put yourself out there, you know, people will come to you. Do you feel that way? If you just put yourself out there, people will probably respond. Maybe energetically, or people come. But I felt that when I did that with the organic chemistry thing. I just decided to put myself out there to see what would happen. And the next thing I hear, I got 10 people. And I was pretty impressed with that. I kept putting myself out there, and I got 20 people. I kept putting myself out there, I got 50 people, I don't remember the number, 100, 200, 500,000. And I did that with my practice now. After that monumental failure happened when I was over on the west side with the chiropractor and the DO, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. I said, kind of screw it, I don't trust anybody anymore, no one likes me anyway, you know, and says little Timmy. And I just moved back to Central Phoenix and I just opened up my practice. And then 10 people showed up. I kept putting myself out there. 20 people showed up, you know, blah, 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 50,000, whatever. But it also was at that time when all this stuff happened to me and I decided to put myself out there, that stem cells was kind of becoming a thing. And stem cells kind of became a thing around 2009. And that's when I started doing it. And also at that time, do you guys remember, I don't know if you know this, there was a clinic called Revolutions. And it was kind of a big news story. And Revolutions was a clinic that used to sell growth hormone on the shelf. They would put testosterone on the shelf. They would put estrogen on the shelf. And all these other anabolic steroids that bodybuilders use. Trenbolone and Winstrol, if you know these names, whatever. They're not, we can't prescribe them. But anyway, there's a company that was just had it on the shelf. And high school kids were walking through there, policemen, firemen, blah, blah, and of course the news got a hold of it and they closed them all down. My clinic was almost next door to them. So when they all closed down, they all came to me. So it was that perfect timing that I became a hormone specialist I was forced to, because I was getting all these clients that were going to the closed clinic that wanted me to give them all these illegal stuff. And I didn't do it though. But I just kept my doors open, and these were the perfect times when the stem cells started to go big, and then the hormones started to go big. So I technically consider myself to be a hormone specialist. If I may say, bar none, I'm amazing. But of course, somebody else is going to say, no, you're not. You're not that amazing. And then when the stem cells came on board, I consider myself to be an amazing stem cell guy. I was the only one doing it. That's not a true statement. But I was one of the only ones. And there was a company in Germany, I can't remember the name, but they were huge. And they killed 2 children because they injected stem cells into their brain. But to be fair, they were already brain dead. This is what I think. I think this is accurate. So they injected 2 children. I don't know why they were brain dead, but they were, and they were hoping that it would stimulate some kind of brain activity, and that they would do better. Of course, they died, and that closed them down. And I was open, and I had a website up. And next thing I know, I went from 10 patients, 20, 50, and it was crazy. I had like a 6-month waiting list, and people were coming all over the world for stem cells in the United States. At that point, I was rated by the FDA a couple of times, and I had a lot of issues. All cleared, I was cleared, and nothing ever happened. But talk about freaky, and talk about feeling like you're the man who's got the golden touch. Then you get rated by the FDA, and guess what happens? You're a loser. Little Timmy would get right in my face and say, "I told you, you can't be successful." Look what's happening, you're being rated by the FDA. You're going down. I'm going to prison. Of course, I freaked out. I didn't sleep for a couple of nights, but it worked out fine because I was following the FDA rules at that time. And I would never violate that, especially when it comes to those kind of things, especially stem cell. But again, there was luck on my side. The hormone clinic closed down. The main stem cell clinic in the world closed down, and then bang, I got hit with it. But really, I was challenging myself all along by not put myself out there, but I said put myself out there. So when I opened up a practice, or one of the ways in which I did want to open up a practice, which is kind of what I'm trying to talk about today, is I just put myself out there, knowing that there was another part of me that said, you can't do that. And you can't listen to that. But I can't tell that to you because you're going to listen to that little voice. And your patients are going to listen to that. And your patients are going to be fat and skinny, and they're going to be diabetic, and they're going to be blah, blah, blah. And they can't change their behavior. And what are you going to do? Give them an herb? I say that in a good way. I don't mean that as a derogatory statement, because we love herbal medicine. You can give them a shot of something. You can give them an IV. You can sit down and talk to them. I think all of that is important. But I think talking to them is probably one of the best things you could do to help them, to see if you can get them to understand that part of themselves that keeps them down. When you can give them an opportunity to blame something else, not themselves, it's still themselves, though, right? It's still them. But if you can give them an opportunity to explain, hey, that might not be you doing it, it might be this other behavior that you have learned from maybe your parents' abuse, or maybe, remember, the abuse is not being loved upon. The abuse is not being fed at the right time. The abuse is not being warmed at the right time. Where your little 2-day-old mind or 1-year-old mind created, I am bad and you don't love me. How many of you, don't answer this question, but I would say, how many of you guys are mad at your parents because they were horrible, or they were bad or mean? Don't answer. But maybe they were horrible and mean to you. Or maybe they were just trying to do their best and they did a crappy job at it. And you're now holding on to that pain and anger because they did you so bad. And that keeps you stuck. Because your mentality might be a 2-day-old mentality and you judge them way more than you need to. Or maybe you're judging them correctly. I can't make that claim. But do you understand what I'm saying? It twists the way you perceive your parents, your brothers and sisters, your friends, and then your patients. And your patients will come like this to you. And some of them are hurting. Some of them might have been horribly abused. Are you going to be their therapist, or should we refer out? Because I'm kind of doing therapy on them, you know? If you go there and try to figure out that little shit part of them, you know? So it's always something to think about to refer out. But anyway, people will come to you with this situation. So when you start your own clinic and you just put yourself out there, I can almost guarantee people will come. Might be 10, then be 20. And then if you're likable, I mean, when I look at all of you guys, I look at every one of you, and you all seem likable to me. You know what I mean? I'm not looking in your eyes and thinking, you know, no, I don't see that. So I think inherently people are going to like you. If you put yourself out there, they will come. If you start helping the patients with your herbal training, your nutrition training, your acupuncture training, your prolotherapy training, or stem cell training, or whatever you end up, whatever you're going to do that really pleases you, you're going to be a success. One, we need you desperately. And there's enough people in Phoenix for all of us to be full practicing, and then another 500 people. We need you. There's not enough people around. Anyway, the biggest thing that I've found is that there's a psyche to all of us. And if you can kind of touch upon your own psyche and figure out what your stuff is, you're going to have an easier time figuring out your patient stuff. And then when you help them figure it out, guess what you just did with them? It's a transformative experience for them. I think all patient visits should be, I'm kind of rolling my eyes as I say this, but all patient visits should be a transformation for them. It should be a transformative experience for them. And when I explain, Dr. Peace, amazing, incredible, you're at the right place, I can't bring up my little shit because I don't want to tell them, I don't want to tell them that, hey, I'm human too. I don't want to bring that up. But I make sure that they bring up theirs because I want to expose it so we can talk about it. And hopefully they get a transformation. And hopefully they can start having a better idea of saying, how can I not eat sugar at night? I'm so addicted to it, I don't know what to do. given this idea, helps them a lot. And a lot of times you start getting great success with it. So, anyway, that's sort of my experience with how I opened up my practice. I didn't really understand my little shit, I guess, until I failed. Until I had that monumental failure when I really started becoming depressed and sad about my life. And I thought, well, I was amazing a while ago. How come I'm a piece of crap now? And that's when I started diving into who am I? What's my psyche? What's my issues? Am I mad at my parents? Do I hate them? Am I mad at, whatever you would say, to try to figure it out. And I think I did a pretty good job. And I'm still working on it, so I think it's a lifelong thing. But I love it. And I'm so excited about it. That's what I wanted to bring up today too. But I'm excited about it because I think patients really respond well to it, and it really helps them heal. Especially when they're not doing things that you ask. Because I guarantee you, your patients aren't going to do what you ask, especially when they're home alone. And you're talking about, how do you stop someone from having sex with 1,000 people a night? Don't. But how do you stop them from getting too much sugar when that's all they do at night? How do you stop them from drinking alcohol if that's all they do at night? These are ideas to help process that with them. And of course, maybe refer out. You shouldn't really take the role of therapy if you don't really know. You should be mindful about that, about taking the role of a therapist. Okay, because then they're going to rely on you. And maybe they'll come back. Especially if you gave them a transformative experience. Then they'll think you're the man or the woman. No, you're amazing. I'm going to send all my patients to you. And that's what happens with us. Once patients come in, usually they're just sitting there, and this is what I see all the time. They're in awe, and they think, I got to send everybody to you. And they usually end up doing it. And I think this is huge. What's your bedside manner? You can open up all the clinics you want. If you're the physician, you have a crappy bedside manner, no one's going to come see you. They won't want to. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I think we all kind of get that. But at a good bedside manner, and if you try to explain this pathway, maybe there's going to be something interesting about it. So that's how I began my clinic, or my clinics. One thing I want to bring up is stem cell. Are you guys going to be into stem cell therapy? Is that a thing? And are you guys, is it a thing to think, I think I want to do stem cells when I have my practice? Is that like a thought?
Sure, yeah.
For most people? Okay, so when I was doing it, in the beginning, there was no clinics that were selling stem cells. Now, there are clinics that are selling stem cells. That's like a thing. So what we were doing in the beginning was we were pulling people's fat out of their body, and from their fat, we would isolate the stem cells. And then from that isolation, we would inject them back to the patient. And it was amazing. The success rates are freaking huge, but that's illegal now. The FDA has twisted the laws, and whether it's good or bad, they twisted the laws where they say that's like, if you take a stem cell out of somebody or you take their fat out of somebody, it's almost like you're creating a new drug. And then if I inject you with your own stem cells, technically that's now a new drug, and that's illegal. I can't do that anymore. Besides, one depends on your age. If you're like a tiny baby, a little tiny fat, a billion stem cells are in there. If you're an older person, and older's over 30, so all of you guys are ancient, unless you're under 30, and I think some of you guys are under 30. Anyway, if you're over 50 or 60 or 70, your stem cell count goes way down. So now what we do is we can buy stem cells from companies that are claiming per mil, you get 1 million stem cells in it, or 2 million stem cells in it. And then once you buy these from the company, then I can inject them into the patient. There's issues with that too, but it's just an easier pathway now. And a lot of people are a little bit sore when you took their fat out of them. It's a liposuction, basically. It's all liposuction is kind of the same. You tumesce them. Tumescing is when I fill you with fluid and you get real full. You looks like you gain like 50 pounds. But you tumesce them with saline with a little lidocaine in there. And that tumescent just fills you up, and then it makes you numb inside, and then I can take a cannula or a vacuum cleaner, just suck it out. The real liposuction places do machine sucking, and they're mean and aggressive, and it's just nasty. We did it very kindly and gently. Remember, this is illegal now, I can't do this anyway. But that was the process of getting out the fat. Now I don't have to do that. So this is a big bonus. So now all you guys, I was always worried about me teaching other people. I always worried about me teaching other people how to do stem cell therapies, because I figured they'd mess it up. They would harm the patient. And there's a greed factor to stem cells. Stem cells with $7,000 of therapy, $10,000 of therapy, all this money is amazing. And so the greed, I think, messed people up. So I never wanted to teach anybody how to do that, because I was worried that they would do it greed and hurt people. Anyway, it's all changed now. So now you can just buy your stem cells from a company, have the patient pay for it, and then you inject it in them. Pretty easy now. So stem cells is completely changing. And I know there's going to be I'm not sure where we are on it, but there's a stem cell clinic brewing here, and it's going to explode pretty soon. So if you have any interest in stem cell therapies, this school is going to be a forefront, I think, in the training and the therapies with it, with research projects and everything. It's going to be really, really good. So stem cells are magic. I can tell you that the miracles that we've seen, it's endless. I don't know how many thousands of patients I've seen, but we've had blind people see, spinal cord injury patients walk, autism, less autistic, palsy and any kind of neurologic degenerative pathway severely affected in a good way. So if you have any interest in stem cells, just know it's a really good thing. But there's a new twist. The stem cells, basically, if you think about it, I'm pulling out a cell from my body. And that little cell is a baby magic cell. I put it in you, bam, it heals you. But they're now kind of claiming that that's not really what happens. So the stem cell might not be the thing anymore. So what we're kind of looking at is when you have a stem cell, and I'm not the master of this, this is what I've learned over the past 5 years, that the stem cell itself might not be the one that does it. It might be the matrix around the stem cell that they call exosomes and just other matrix stuff. That the fluid around the stem cell might be the magic thing. So if you're into stem cell therapies and you're going to focus on stem cells, maybe that's not it. Maybe it's the matrix. And if you're into prolotherapy, I love prolotherapy. I've been doing prolotherapy since 2005, I think, and just magic stuff with that too. And of course, we now add stem cell to the prolotherapy. Okay. When I say prolotherapy, do you have an idea what I'm talking about for the most part? Prolotherapy is basically an injection therapy that is designed to heal a joint. The joint is made up of hyaluronic acid, and to make this easy, hyaluronic acid stuff. I could say glucosamine and chondroitin and vitamin C and hydroxyproline and sodium moreuate and things like that. But who cares? Hyaluronic acid. If I take hyaluronic acid, I can just inject that into the joint, and I'll probably get a good result. What if I inject stem cells with that too? That's what we do. It's amazing. Yes, it's a great thing to do. But it might not be stem cells now. So now what the companies are starting to give you is stem cell, or you can buy the matrix. Stem cells are typically more expensive, and the matrix is less expensive until they're aware of this too. So this is I'm not telling you something I don't know. But maybe the matrix is better than the stem cell. Anyway, if you're into this, you should be watching that to see if you're to see if that's what you want to do, and to see what happens. Do you have a question?
My question was getting the stem cells out of the bone marrow.
Oh, yeah. So another way to do it is you get stem cells out of bone marrow. Now, I don't know if that's illegal, but it's really invasive, and it's really painful, and it's only painful if you do it real fast. Basically, I think it's the pressure inside the bone marrow. Most of the time when they do bone marrow extractions, they want to get it done fast. I've got time. I'm going to just suck it right out. And I think it's that negative pressure inside the bone marrow that makes it so freaking painful. If you do it nice and slow, which we've done bone marrow a couple of times. When you did it nice and slow, they didn't feel pain. And we wanted to go really slow just to see what would happen. And it was easy. Well, I can't say it was easy, but it was easier on the patient. So if you want to learn how to do bone marrow extraction, you can. But I think that's really invasive. And if you can do bone marrow and adipose and buy the stem cell product, you got a freaking amazing matrix. Why not? And in fact, I think here they're going to be doing research studies on bone marrow, adipose, and then these purchased products. So it's a great thing to do. Bone marrow is just another type of stem cell. If you really get into stem cells, you're talking about hematopoietic stem cells. And then there's mesenchymal stem cells. And then there's these new things called the oxosomes. And maybe the hematopoietic or the mesenchymal aren't it. Now it's the oxosome thing. Anyway, we're discussing amongst ourselves, whatever, and we'll see what happens as the next years come up. But anyway, still options for you to do. So if you're going to start your clinic and you have already figured out who you are, assuming you even care to do that, you know, and you start seeing patients and you want to figure it out with them, and you're gonna do stem cells on them or prolo or diabetes. I guarantee you're gonna have diabetes patients. I guarantee you're gonna have cancer patients. I guarantee you're gonna have depressed patients. You're gonna have menopausal patients. You're gonna have male patients who are low testosterone, or maybe that's andropause, maybe, you know, male andropause. You're gonna get all them too. So what you learn here at the school, by the way, is really amazing. I didn't realize how much I learned until I was kind of in the middle of a patient. This is in the beginning of my graduation time. And I remember thinking, what was going on now? I was like, what is all that? You know, of course, my little Timmy would be like, you don't know that stuff. But all the stuff was coming out, I was like, man, I learned a lot. So, you know, maybe you realize this, but I don't know if you really realize how much you are learning here. I think the school does a great job at your training.